Hi there. Welcome to another Planner Perfect podcast. This is your host, Jenny Penton, and I'm really glad you're here today. Today, we're going to be talking about how you are enough. So, this is something that's dear to my heart because it was part of my journey in understanding that I am enough and to quit seeking outwardly for what I already had within me. And so I'd really love to share this with you. And I've even, if you are new to me, I do want to welcome you. I offer spiritual awakening courses over my Project Me group. And this is a new study that we're doing over in my Project Me group, and it is called Enough. And within the next week here, we're going to be beginning. So if you want to be a part of that, you can join my Project Me group and find out how over or at my store. You can purchase the spiritual course over at designsbyplannerperfect.com. But today I'm going to give you a segment of that workbook of just something that is very important to understand as another step in your spiritual journey to be able to awaken you from within. And so that way you can remove any blockers and resistance to God's best. And so let's just go ahead and dive right in. A couple of my two favorite verses that I love that have come to be something that is dear to me, whereas before was more words on paper, is by Psalm 139:14. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And in 1 Peter 4:10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in various forms. And I like that one because it just validates that we all have gifts and talents that God's equipped us with. When we were born, we came into this world to have a physical experience. We're all spiritual beings, and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're perfect in Him. He lives in every single one of us, and He guides and takes us on this journey. And really, the whole process of here being on this earth is being spiritually awoken to His truth. And once we really can be awoken to this truth, then watch out, world, because we begin to make radical changes, not only within our own realities, but we begin to share and open up the awareness to others. Because a lot of times within scriptures and things, I know for me, it was words on paper that I could relate to, but it offered peace to me, but not long standing, because I didn't understand the spiritual laws lying behind them. Once I really understood the science and the spiritual laws and the quantum physics behind things and how God made us and our minds and how they work and just how miraculous we are made, did everything really start to click. And this part of my journey has just been phenomenal. And I go through, in my courses, there's 4 different studies, and one is As a Woman Thinketh, So Is She, and how profound is the knowledge of knowing that what you think creates your reality. I am now being aware to it, have seen this over and over countless times again, of how nothing is a coincidence, that my thoughts are things, and we have such power. And a lot of times we don't, most of the time, we are sloppy with our lives are just a sloppy mess because of the fact that we don't take our seat as with the power that we have and with the authority that we do have on this earth. And it's time we take our power back and understand. And that is such hope. We don't need to wait to be able to have God's best. We don't need to wait. We can have heaven now. And we can have that kind of understanding now that equips us with that kind of reality now. So let's dive into how you are enough. I know that for starters, one of the things that was something for me that I didn't even understand I was doing, was very operating on a very subconscious level, is that I needed to go to others to validate me for being enough. And when I say enough, I mean beautiful enough, artistic enough, smart enough, a good enough mother enough. And I needed that validation all of the time, and it's very draining and it's tiring, and it's a temporary high that gets you nowhere except for in the perpetual loop of always seeking outside of yourself. And God does warn us about that, and we do need to be in the understanding and to be aware that we are enough. When we are born into this world, we are given everything. We are equipped with everything we need to live an abundant and prosperous and amazing life with gifts and with talents to be able to serve the world, to serve our families and ourselves, to be able to use all of this new knowledge that we gain from understanding and His speaking and His calling, so that we can take the next steps to what is in store for us based upon really our desires and what we're wanting and what we're seeking. And God shows us the next steps and opens doors, and no doors are permanently shut, because when a door shuts, a new one opens. There is always opportunity and always a new chance. Always, always, always. It's just a matter of removing blockers and resistance to that call, to that knowledge, and to that hearing of what is ours and what's next. This was something that was very important to me to know. And when I understood it, then I even applied it to my children, because I wanted them to be able to know that they're enough. But it went more than just words alone. It had to be how I acted toward them and how I related to them, so that they could understand on a very vibrational level that they're enough. And so I'm going to get to that in a second. Understand this, that if you find yourself that you always need to seek outside yourself to find if that you're validated, then you'll always be in a perpetual loop of always receiving people that make you feel unvalidated or unworthy and not enough. It's a perpetual loop, and it's there because you simply are mirroring what you're thinking. And so when you think that you're not enough on a very subconscious level, then your reality will be that you always are feeling that way. Now, feelings, we've talked about this before in another podcast, are very important indicators of where you are in terms of being in aligned with what God says and what God believes about you. So if you feel unworthy, then those feelings are perfect and amazing tools to let you know that you're off track, that you are not aligned with how God feels about you. So that is something, then once you're aware, there's no going back. Once you're aware that your feelings serve as tools, then there is no going back. That means I'm off course. God doesn't feel this way about me. So I need to go back to understand that I am worthy. I am smart. I can do this. And in Him, I can do all things. So you know that you're equipped with everything. You don't have to do anything unless there's an inspired action from within that God tells you to do to further what you need to know to have what you're desiring come to you. So it's not like you have to have a college degree to be able to be enough. You have everything within you already. And what's amazing is that from within, from inside, from the call, you'll know your next steps. But that is the key. That's the secret. It's inside you that tells you what that is. So a lot of times we're always seeking outside of ourselves to try to fulfill something to make us feel like we're worthy, but it all starts from inside first. We need to begin there and let Him lead, because when we work on our own accord, we're always going to hit pitfalls we don't need to hit, and blocks where we don't need to necessarily hit blocks, because we need to be led from within and not by others or what we think we should even do without even going through a meditative process or being inspired. A lot of times we'll even go to things and do things out of stress, out of worry, out of fear. And that is definitely a road you don't want to go on. You want to go from a place of inspired action, and being inspired comes from within. And that is where we begin. My friends, that is where we begin. We always begin from within. When I knew and when I understood then that I didn't need to be validated by other people to be enough, then my whole life changed. No longer did I not feel I was a good enough mother. I knew I was enough, because I was being now led internally on what my next steps should be as being a mother. I already knew that as a business owner for myself that I was enough and that I could do this and I could produce art and I could coach women and I could do this because I was being inspired and led from within, which gets you jazzed and excited and you know it's coming from within. What I did then was it just was automatic. I wanted that vibration was there for me. It just was very seamless. It wasn't even really a decision. It was an evolving process. But once I came to terms with this 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I was beginning this awakening, I began to do that with my children. Instead of telling them what to think and how to be and how to act, it's just very natural for me to appreciate them and where they are as children in different stages and to never squash that true self. You know what I mean? Because as babies are automatically born as completely confident beings. And you know that. I mean, you see a baby and they're just confident as heck. They could have, snot rolling down their nose and it doesn't even matter. They just know you love them anyway. They're just they just know they are great. And we tend to begin to lose that as we journey through life. And for me, with my children, I love to, if they show me something that they've done or whatever, they're like, "Hey, Mom, what do you think?" And I'll always spin it. And they don't even really ask me anymore per se like that. But they'll say, "What do you think?" And I'll say, "It doesn't matter what I think. I want to know what you think about your work." And it's just those kind of steps to be able to always lead them inward. If a child is hurting over something, I'm always going to lead them back inward. Of course, if I have some wisdom or some advice, it is always offered. But it is always something where it is an automatic response of, have you been quiet to know what you should do? It should come from within. And a lot of times I'll even offer some sort of advice and you can tell, how you can give advice and you can tell it's like hitting a wall. And that's because they need to come to terms with it from within. And that is like the perfect time. If it comes from within, then you're good. If someone says you need to do this, this, and this, and you go and do it, then again, you're always trying to please someone else and do something else for someone else. And then you're gonna always then like hit a wall. And again, and it's like, okay, now it's back to square one. Am I not doing it good enough? You're always playing circus acts for other people that you'll never be able to satisfy. It always has to come from within. And when you're led from within, you'll know when to say no. You'll know when to move. You'll know when to, what to say. And you'll know what your next steps are. Always, always, always. And it all comes with the understanding of knowing that you are enough. Your natural state of being is that you are enough. That is your natural state. That is how you were made. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And your true self is enough. Your true self is equipped with everything it needs. That's why within this journey, the spiritual awakening helps you understand this important knowledge that you are enough and it's already within you. It's already within you. If you want to know more about these kind of topics, then I really encourage you to join me on this beautiful study that starts within a week. And join me over on Project Me, and you can purchase the course and join us over at designsbyplannerperfect.com. I will put a link down below so that you can join us on this spiritual awakening journey. And I just want you all to know that you are enough and you are equipped, and find such joy and hope in that. That's all I've got for you guys. Have an amazing day, and thanks for joining me today. Until next week.